Raymond Reddington seems to be a wonderful boss. He's both kind and devoted, if you can look past the constant threat of detention, torture, and murder. This week, the task force tackles the case of a murdered judge, which was presented to them by Herbie Hambright, our favorite forensic scientist and stay-at-home parent. Judge Alice Dockery, who was extremely alarmed at the time, summoned Detective Fleming to her office 3 weeks prior after discovering what she believed to be something seriously incorrect in a file. He arrived to find Dockery deceased and slouched over her bloody laptop. Bruno appeared as the name on the screen. The case against Paul Bruno Jr., the mobster who had been intimidating the judge after she threw the book at his mafia boss father, appeared to be a done deal. The defense team for Jr., on the other hand, is adamant about hiring Herbie as a consultant and closing the case. Red is then asked by Herbie to advise, and he naturally consults with the FBI. Ressler complains about doing Red's bidding, but Cooper is happy to accept the job. You'd assume Ressler would eventually realize that doing Red's bidding is his literal job after, say, 10 years. Having been given a dolly full of the judge's case papers, Malik is dispatched to Herbie's apartment, resulting in this hilariously awkward encounter. That kid is adorable. The way Red cradles her and kisses her tiny baby cranium only makes it cuter. The baby is captivated by him and won't stop gazing. A list of individuals who might have a deep enough resentment against the judge to commit murder must now be questioned by the task force. Bring on the procession of suspects. The wife of a disgraced insider trader spent the night of the murder sobbing at a gala. The ex-con with a Vegas wedding alibi. The man who was exonerated and has no ill will towards the judge because he gave him a fair trial to prove his innocence in public. And the former dentist who is appreciative that the judge stopped his compulsive cycle of unnecessary dental procedures. Until Herbie realizes that Dockery was certainly murdered and that the injury from the stabbing would have instantly severed her spinal cord, rendering her incapable of typing anything, much less Bruno, everything adds up to a big old pile of dead ends. The inquiry moves forward more quickly as a result. Bruno alleges that the judge had a lover, but a search of her house turns up no proof of a relationship. However, it results in the discovery of a death threat made by Emma Moody's father. They had previously spoken with Anton Johnston, who had been cleared of all charges. The Moody parents readily acknowledge that they penned the threat because they hold Dockery responsible for Johnston's exoneration. It's understandable why they're upset. Her mother still wears a necklace with her daughter's name, an inside joke from the time they couldn't locate both of their names at a street fair, so they bought 2 Emma necklaces in their place. Her father constantly rails against the injustice system. A bouquet of flowers that was in the judge's office is exactly like an orchid Ressler sees in a frame. The team phones Herbie, who is warming up for a foosball match while dressed in full athletic gear, complete with a headband, back at TFHQ. Herbie wonders why the judge's and Emma's flowers have an odd shimmer. Ressler and Malik leave to speak with Johnston once more at his house. When they arrive, he has just poisoned a 75-year-old Scotch on an innocent date. Malik becomes suspicious when he calls the judge Allie rather than Alice or Judge Dockery, even though he's concealed her upstairs. Malik persuades Johnston to acknowledge that he was the judge's lover as Ressler wanders around the house's gardens. Then, a groan from the lady upstairs demonstrates for sure that Johnston is the villain. Herbie calls Ressler after he has done examining the orchids. High nitrogen amounts are the cause of the shimmer, until Herbie asserts that the only way the flowers could grow with that much nitrogen is if they were planted directly on top of decomposing bodies. Ressler is not interested in advancing his horticultural knowledge. This makes Johnston's enormous orchid garden's gradual revelation all the more terrifying. He confesses to killing the 3 people they discovered under the orchids, including his mother, when he is being questioned again. After feeling abandoned by Mom, he went full Norman Bates and continued his murdering with other young women, including Emma Moody. Johnston says he killed Dockery because she discovered his prize, an Emma necklace that matched the one her mother still wore, even though he was in love with her. The file containing a photo of Emma's jewelry was the one we observed her looking through on the night of her murder. Ressler claims that Herbie was the case's MVP in Cooper's workplace. He was. He oversaw kids' care, a pastime in sports, and a murder investigation. A real Renaissance figure. Stacy Keaches-Vesco, who has a link to the task force, joins Team Woojing after Red acknowledges it. However, is he really on board or is he acting dishonestly? A punk vocalist in the band Fatimita Vigaman is Herbie's wife. I'm hoping they record It's Just Like Candy as a tune. It's not the Blacklister this time, but it's still a good show. A small amount of murder, comedy, development regarding Wu Jing and a baby.